In 1963, days after my graduation from a segregated South Carolina high school, I boarded a train for White River Junction, Vermont, where even though I knew little about cooking, I was to be the head cook's assistant at an exclusive girls' camp nestled on the shores of Lake Fairleigh. I dreamed of learning to swim in the beautiful lake pictured in the camp's brochure. Upon arrival, however, Camp Benedewin's owner told us that the kitchen help was not allowed to go near the lake. We also were told not to associate with the white campers and to address each one as Miss during all encounters in the dining hall. Up north, it seemed segregation was a matter of class and skin color. I was absolutely incensed and wanted to bolt, but I had no way to get home and no home to return to. My mother had died a few months earlier, and I'd had no contact with my absentee father for years. Benedewin was to be my interim home until I entered Morgan State College that fall. The camp's offer of room, board, a round-trip train ticket, and $300 in exchange for 2 months' labor no longer seemed fair, but I accepted my fate. Mrs. Lee, the head cook, 6 other teenage girls, and I quickly settled into the routine of preparing and serving home-cooked meals for 150 people 3 times a day, 6.5 days a week. It was still cold and dark each morning as I made my way through the pine-scented forest to the kitchen, where I stirred huge vats of maypole, loaded slices of white bread onto an industrial-sized rotating toaster, then buttered and pressed each slice into a plate of cinnamon sugar after it tumbled from the conveyor belt. Under Mrs. Lee's tutelage, I learned to make and enjoy delicacies like sugar cookies, cloverleaf dinner rolls, and smooth brown gravy for pot roasts. Despite my anger about the restrictions at camp, I was shamelessly curious about the white campers. Never before had I been in such close proximity to so many young white girls my own age. From my side of the kitchen counter, day by day it grew easier to eavesdrop on their conversations as they grew far more used to our brown presence, and we became about as insignificant as the pine trees that sheltered the camp. I soon learned that white skin brought no solace from money problems, didn't ensure smooth boy-girl relationships, or prevent sadness and heartache. The white girls had the same problems I had. I also learned that having 2 parents at home didn't always make a happy family. Every Sunday afternoon, the resident handyman took the 7 of us sightseeing in the camp's old woody station wagon. I marveled at the beauty of the Vermont countryside and the quaintness of its villages. I also surmised from the stares that our little brown-skinned group always drew that no other colored person had ever lived in or entered or visited the state of Vermont. An overwhelming sense of being different and unwelcome permeated my entire experience. The last Sunday afternoon before camp ended, instead of joining the weekly tour, I made a pilgrimage through the pine forest to the forbidden Lake Fairleigh. As I looked out over the vast mirror-like expanse, I again grew angry. What right did white people have to bar me from something God made? Since they thought my skin would contaminate their lake, I decided to do something that really would. I lowered my panties. I stepped into the water. I squatted and peed.